This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. Good morning, I'm John Trout. It's Wednesday, November 5th, 2025. Here's what's coming up on America in the Morning.
A big night for Democrats in New York, New Jersey, and Virginia.
A mandate for change.
I'm John Stolnis.
Californians overwhelmingly approved Proposition 50, giving lawmakers a chance to redraw congressional maps. I'm Steve Futterman in Los Angeles.
A UPS plane crashes in Kentucky.
Looks like they were hit pretty directly.
I'm Clayton Neville.
Authorities are investigating a reported bomb threat involving a United Airlines aircraft. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
On Wall Street, stocks will try to rebound from yesterday's stock sell-off, which really wasn't much of a surprise. I'm Jessica Ettinger.
2 Massachusetts men have been arrested in connection with a weekend explosion at Harvard Medical School. I'm Haya Panjwani.
All ahead on America in the Morning. Tuesday, an election night of victories for Democrats with blowout wins in Virginia, New Jersey, and New York City, and talk of potentially setting up a blue wave in next year's midterm elections. Correspondent John Stolnis with a recap.
Tonight, against all odds, we have grasped it. The future is in our hands.
A record 2 million New Yorkers went to the polls yesterday, electing Democrat Zoran Mamdani as the first Muslim mayor in the city's history.
New York, tonight you have delivered a mandate for change.
Critics say Mamdani ran on a socialist platform. President Trump had threatened to cut federal funding to the city if Mamdani won.
So hear me, President Trump, when I say this. To get to any of us, you will have to get through all of us.
In Virginia, Democrat Abigail Spanberger, a former congresswoman and CIA officer, won in a record-setting blowout for that state.
We sent a message to the whole world that in 2025, Virginia chose pragmatism over partisanship.
Spanberger, seen as a moderate Democrat, reversed last year's shift to the right in that state with a double-digit victory over Republican Winsome Earl Sears.
You all chose leadership that will focus relentlessly on what matters most. Lowering costs, keeping our communities safe, and strengthening our economy for every Virginian.
The Democrat in Virginia's Attorney General race, Jay Jones, handily beat Republican Jason Miyares despite a scandal over the last few weeks. Text messages were discovered from a few years ago in which Jones fantasized about killing a Republican adversary and his children. In New Jersey, another moderate Democrat, Mikey Sherrill, also scored a double-digit victory over her opponent.
Here in New Jersey, we know that this nation has not ever been, nor will it ever be, ruled by kings.
Democrats turned out in droves to defeat Republican Jack Ciattarelli. Sherrill succeeds Democrat Phil Murphy. Last night's elections were seen as a potential bellwether for next year's midterm elections. Democrats hope their victories are a sign of things to come next fall. I'm John Stolnis.
In California, an election ballot measure pushed by Governor Gavin Newsom, known as Proposition 50, that would allow the Golden State to redistrict for next year's congressional races, passed by a landslide. Steve Futterman reports from Los Angeles on what this could mean for California and the current GOP majority in the House.
From the start, Gavin Newsom was the force behind Proposition 50, and last night, after Prop 50 was declared victorious, Newsom spoke about what he feels is the significance of the vote. In some locations, he said, voting continued even after the polls closed.
People are still in line. People waiting up 3 hours to cast their vote, to send a message to Donald Trump. No crowns, no thrones, no kings. That's what this victory represents. It's a victory for the people of the state of California.
Proposition 50 only came about this summer after Donald Trump told Texas Republican lawmakers to redraw the state's congressional maps.
We have an opportunity in Texas to pick up 5 seats, and we are entitled to 5 more seats.
Newsom responded saying if Texas does it, California will respond.
I know they say don't mess with Texas. Well, don't mess with the great Golden State.
Despite the victory last night, Newsom says Trump will go to other states in the months ahead, attempting to do exactly what he did in Texas.
None of us, however, are naive. This is a pattern. This is a practice. To this day.
With Newsom's spotlight role in the Proposition 50 battle, some political pundits believe this could set the stage for a Newsom run for president in 2028. I'm Steve Futterman in Los Angeles.
The top stories of the day are sponsored by Sleep Number. It's the Sleep Number Black Friday sale. Recharge this season with cozy, soothing comfort. Save on mattress and base bundles, plus free premium delivery. Limited time, only at Sleep Number or sleepnumber.com. When we return on America in the Morning, flight delays pile up at our nation's airports after these messages. Welcome back, and thanks for listening. This is America in the Morning. Areas of the West will receive plenty of rain today. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
An atmospheric river event will bring plenty of moisture to the West Coast as the first and more intense of two storms hammering the Northwest in rapid succession for the second half of this week delivers no shortage of wet weather. For today, showers build into much of central California through the day, with steady rain at times from the San Francisco Bay Area to the Nevada border and northward to central Washington. And as the storm picks up steam on its approach to the coast, there can even be some thunder near the coast from San Francisco to the Washington-Oregon border. Any downpour heavy enough to include thunder only gives a localized boost to rainfall totals through tonight, which look to be a general 1 to 2 inches for much of northern California into western Oregon and Washington. The other major storm in the country today crosses from the Great Lakes through parts of the Midwest and especially the Northeast today, carrying a cold front through the nation's center and toward the East Coast over time. Much of the southwestern extent of this front won't have enough moisture to fuel precipitation, but areas from Michigan south and eastward to eastern Ohio and parts of southwestern and northern Pennsylvania should be able to get into some shower activity today. Any areas of occasional steady rain will be more likely from northwestern Pennsylvania into Maine, and as the storm gains intensity over the Great Lakes, look for the wind to build as well, with peak gusts of 40 to 50 miles per hour from southern lower Michigan and northern Ohio through eastern West Virginia, northward into central Maine, and south along the coast into the Outer Banks, but some gusts up to 60 miles per hour. Many other places look dry today as the southwest stays warm. In the nation's capital, today brings sun, increasing wind, and a high of 70. For Eureka, California, expect showers, a thunderstorm, and gusty winds, high 62. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
You can follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Simply search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. The death toll continues to rise following a catastrophic crash of a UPS plane in Kentucky. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports.
The plane was taking off from Muhammad Ali International Airport in Louisville and headed for Hawaii around 5 o'clock local time yesterday evening. All arriving and departing flights were then put on hold as chaos unfolded and smoke bellowed into the sky. The aircraft was a McDonnell Douglas MD-11, which is primarily used by cargo airlines.
We have at least 11 injuries, some of them very significant, that are being treated by local hospitals. Again, I think that number will get larger.
Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear.
Right now, we believe that the main area hit consisted of 2 businesses, though we know there were more businesses impacted. The first is Kentucky Petroleum Recycling. We are seeking more information, but it looks like they were hit pretty directly. The second is Grade A Auto Parts.
2 employees on the ground were unaccounted for. The plane was carrying tens of thousands of gallons of fuel at the time of the crash. Passengers flying out of Louisville International asked to check for updates today on potential closures as the investigation continues. I'm Clayton Neville.
As flight delays continue to pile up by the thousands at the nation's airports due to the government shutdown, there was a security scare at Washington's Reagan Airport that disrupted Tuesday flights. Lisa Dwyer reports. Audio courtesy liveatc.net.
The Federal Aviation Administration says that it halted all flights at Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport because of a security threat.
We're going to put you in the block at 22. We have an unconfirmed bomb report for your flight. We got to get you away from the airport. Make 180, Taxi Mike and hold terminal 1.
All right. Lincoln 180, Mike, and short of runway 1, United 512.
Yes, very good.
In a social media post, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says that authorities are investigating a reported bomb threat involving a United Airlines aircraft that arrived from Houston. The plane was moved to an isolated area, and all other traffic was put on hold while passengers disembarked and were bused to a terminal. Duffy says that all operations have now returned to normal. The incident caused flight delays of up to 2 hours, further rattling passengers already facing flight delays and uncertainty due to the ongoing government shutdown. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Job openings scarce as major company layoffs continue. That and more when America in the Morning continues after these messages. The Business Report is sponsored by Gusto. Gusto is a simple online payroll and benefits tool built for small businesses. Learn more at gusto.com/radio. With the Midweek Report, here's CNBC's Jessica Ettinger.
Wall Street opens this morning after a sell-off for stocks yesterday. The S&P 500 index was down about 1%. The tech-heavy NASDAQ fell 2%. Major bank CEOs had just said they were expecting a pullback at some point here.
I think a lot of times, especially when we get this extended, we create a self-fulfilling prophecy. The commentary heats up about, oh, it's time for a pullback. Everything is so expensive. We had a number of financial company CEOs come out and talk about everything being too extended. We need some sort of breakdown in the valuations. So then we create this sort of prophecy of everybody got nervous. We're looking for a reason to get more nervous. And then we just do it and follow everybody else down.
SoFi's Liz Thomas on CNBC. And here's a take from RBC's Lori Calvasina on CNBC.
We have a framework where when we think about pullbacks, we think about how far they can go. And we're not in the recession camp. So we're not looking for anything nasty like what we had back in April. We do think you need to have a bit of a pause that refreshes. I have been waiting for that for quite some time. We'll see if it's starting now.
Bitcoin fell below 100,000 for the first time since last June. IBM, the latest major corporation to announce job cuts, thousands in this current quarter. Meantime, job openings in October slumped to their lowest level since February of 2021, according to job site Indeed. The Supreme Court today considering whether President Trump has the power to declare emergencies and then impose tariffs without Congress.
The president suggesting that he might actually go and attend the Supreme Court arguments. He now says he's not going to do that. The Treasury Secretary Bessent saying he is going to attend. And that gives you the sense of just how important it is to this White House that they get a favorable ruling here. They've said that about $90 billion in tariff revenue is at stake. They'd have to pay that back, presumably, to the American companies who paid those tariffs if the ruling goes against them at the Supreme Court.
That's CNBC's Eamon Javers. Now, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent appeared on CNBC yesterday. He said that the White House absolutely has several backup plans if the Supreme Court finds that President Trump doesn't have the power to impose tariffs in the way that has been done. McDonald's now has 10-piece chicken McNuggets on its extra value menu. On today's watch list, we get a snapshot of business hiring from ADP with its private payroll report. Earnings are coming today from McDonald's, DoorDash, Robinhood, Qualcomm, Arm, and Novo Nordisk, which makes Ozempic and Wegovy.
CNBC's Jessica Ettinger. When we return on America in the Morning, election 2025 updates and weekend explosion at Harvard, 2 suspects in custody. After these messages. This is America in the Morning. 2 men visiting Boston were taken into custody following a weekend explosion at Harvard Medical School. Correspondent Haya Panjwani reports.
2 Massachusetts men have been arrested in connection with a weekend explosion at Harvard Medical School. Authorities said Logan David Patterson and Dominic Frank Cardoza face charges of conspiracy to damage by means of fire or an explosive. The explosion happened early Saturday on the 4th floor of Harvard Medical School's Goldenson building. No one was injured. U.S. Attorney Leah B. Foley says the investigation is ongoing.
Anxiety levels naturally rise when the public learns that an explosion was intentionally caused.
Witnesses said the men were visiting Wentworth College for Halloween activities. They also said that the pair chose the building because it looked abandoned and got into it through the roof. Ted Dox is the FBI's special agent in charge.
Setting off an explosive device inside a locker at an institution geared toward higher education is not some harmless college prank. It's selfish, it's short-sighted, and it's a federal crime.
I'm Haya Panjwani.
A recap of election 2025. Democrat Mikey Sherrill is the new governor-elect of New Jersey, defeating Republican Jack Ciattarelli by a double-digit margin, while in Virginia it was a Democrat clean sweep, as Abigail Spanberger is that Commonwealth's governor-elect, defeating the GOP Winsome Earl Sears, with Democrats also winning the lieutenant governor and attorney general races in the Commonwealth. Zohran Mamdani is the new mayor-elect of New York City. And in California, Proposition 50 was passed by voters, which will lead to state redistricting for the 2026 congressional election. America in the Morning for Wednesday, November 5th, 2025 is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One. This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. I'm John Trout. Coming up this half hour.
Zohran Mamdani secures a landmark victory and becomes New York City's mayor. I'm Sue Aller.
Frustration mounts as a shutdown lingers. I'm Clayton Neville.
Dick Cheney has died at the age of 84. Mike Hempen, Washington.
In New Jersey, voting was underway in the morning when bomb threats came in. I'm Julie Walker.
Jurors heard opening statements Tuesday in a federal trial for a man who threw a submarine sandwich at Customs and Border Protection agents. Jennifer King, Washington.
Chrysler is recalling more than 320,000 Jeep plug-in hybrid vehicles. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
And it's Battle of the Sexes, Round 2. Back after these messages. Welcome back. This is America in the Morning. Thanks for listening. A tale of two coasts in the weather department. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
There actually are two zones where the wind will be especially gusty today, and they are on opposite coasts. For the west, a powerful storm strengthening off the coast of British Columbia and Canada brings very gusty winds of at least 40 to 50 miles per hour to mainly coastal areas from Northern California through Washington State for a time today. And some of that wind spills into the high ground of interior Northern California as well, even into northwestern Nevada and eastern Oregon. However, intense gusts of up to 70 miles per hour will be most likely early today for the far northwestern corner of California, as well as around Mount Shasta. This storm also brings an atmospheric river event to the region, with rainfall through tonight of at least 1 to 2 inches from most of those same parts of Northern California through coastal Washington, even into the Washington Cascades. The Northeast will be the other especially windy zone for today, with the interaction between a separate strengthening storm crossing the Great Lakes and an area of rather strong high pressure coming in hot on the heels of that storm, all thanks to an increasingly fast storm track setting up over the northern U.S. From today through Thursday morning, peak wind gusts are likely to top out in the 40 to 50 mile per hour range, locally 60 miles per hour from the Appalachians along the Virginia-West Virginia border through central Pennsylvania, then becoming more widespread through much of New York State and a large portion of New England. Look for showers to spread from Michigan into northern Pennsylvania today, with areas of steadier rain from northeastern Ohio to central Maine. Outside of those areas, it's generally dry and mostly sunny for much of the rest of the nation, with warm conditions from parts of Wyoming into the Four Corners states and much of Texas as well, and comfortable for today from the Ohio Valley through the southeastern states. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
Follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Simply search America in the Morning in your favorite listening platform. Election 2025 saw both New Jersey and Virginia elect Democrat women as governors, in each case by a wide margin. as both Virginia GOP candidate Winsome Earl Sears and New Jersey's GOP candidate Jack Ciattarelli underperformed in key counties won by President Trump just 1 year ago. In both states, the Hispanic vote went to the Democrats, votes which favored President Trump 12 months ago. In California, Proposition 50, also known as the Election Rigging Response Act, passed, meaning the Golden State will plan to redistrict for the 2026 congressional election. And in New York City, Sue Aller reports that the new mayor will be Zohran Mamdani, who vowed not to cooperate with the White House and the candidate President Trump called a communist.
In a record-breaking turnout for New York City's mayoral race, 32-year-old Zohran Mamdani has won, powered by the highest voter turnout since 1969.
New York, tonight you have delivered a mandate for change, a mandate for a new kind of politics, a mandate for a city we can afford.
Young voters across all 5 boroughs packed the polls drawn by Mamdani's bold platform: affordable housing, free public transit, and higher taxes on the wealthy. Former Governor Andrew Cuomo tried to stage a political comeback, running as an independent after losing the Democratic primary. Republican Curtis Sliwa, founder of the Guardian Angels, also stayed in the race despite calls to drop out. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump blasted Mamdani, calling him a communist and telling CBS News that New York could lose federal funding.
It's going to be hard for me as the president to give a lot of money to New York because if you have a communist running New York, all you're doing is wasting the money you're sending there.
Mamdani now faces the challenge of turning campaign promises into real progress. In New York, I'm Sue Aller.
The continued government shutdown in Washington will now become the longest in history. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports.
The 35-day shutdown tied the previous longest government shutdown yesterday. It'll take the top spot for the longest if it continues into a 36th day as expected. The other 35-day shutdown happened back in 2018 and early 2019. It stemmed from President Trump's call for a border wall at the time. Senate Democrats have voted more than a dozen times and failed to reopen the government each time in recent weeks. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
It is ridiculous that we have even gotten to this place and that the Democrats have continued to shut down the government with 35 days, our air traffic controllers continuing to work unpaid.
Food banks nationwide are sounding the alarm over how the shutdown will impact the food assistance program known as SNAP. But President Trump made clear in a social media post this week that the administration will not pay food stamp benefits until after the partial government shutdown is over. That could be in defiance of a federal court order on the benefits. Democrats blame Trump. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer.
We've been asking for months for Trump to get involved, and he hasn't been. And the fault of this shutdown falls on his shoulders. He's refused to discuss anything with us.
Meanwhile, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy is worried about the lingering shutdown and says he hopes Democrats come to their senses.
I'm frustrated by it because, again, I look across our system, a system where I have worked really hard to make safer.
Flight delays and cancellations are piling up and frustration is building.
I've worked really hard to bring in more air traffic controllers, more into our academy, more into our training system in our towers and centers. And this does not help us resolve that problem. This makes this problem only worse.
Duffy says if you bring us to a week from today, Democrats will see mass chaos. For example, he said we may see mass flight delays and cancellations and potentially the closure of certain parts of the airspace to make things more manageable. I'm Clayton Neville.
The man considered as the most powerful and polarizing vice president in American history has died. Correspondent Mike Hempen looks back on the career of Dick Cheney.
Someone who gave their life, loved their country, loved serving their country in so many capacities. As you know, Dick Cheney served as vice president. He served as a secretary of defense. He served as a congressman, of course, from Wyoming, and as the youngest chief of staff to any president in the history of the country. And so the honor is certainly due to him, and our prayers go out to the family.
I know the president is aware of the former vice president's passing, and as you saw, flags have been lowered to half staff in accordance with statutory law.
Dick Cheney has died at the age of 84. Cheney's family says the former VP died Monday night from complications of pneumonia and cardiac and vascular disease. Cheney was a conservative who served as defense secretary under President George H.W. Bush and as VP under Bush's son, President George W. Bush. During a 2015 ceremony to unveil a bust in his honor, Cheney talked about how he wanted to be remembered.
Here was a believer in America, so fortunate in his life experiences, so blessed in his friends, and so grateful all his days to have served as Vice President of the United States of America.
Cheney survived 5 heart attacks and had a heart transplant. In later years, he became a target of President Trump, especially after his daughter Liz Cheney became the leading Republican critic of Trump.
He tried to steal the last election using lies and violence to keep himself in power after the voters had rejected him. He is a coward. A real man wouldn't lie to his supporters. He lost his election, and he lost big. I know it, he knows it, and deep down, I think most Republicans know it. Lynn and I are so proud of Liz for standing up for the truth, doing what's right, honoring her oath to the Constitution, when so many in our party are too scared to do so.
Last year, Cheney said he was voting for Democrat Kamala Harris in the presidential election. Mike Hempen, Washington.
When we return on America in the Morning, the Sandwich Man's trial and Amazon's latest move with AI. After these messages. Election day in New Jersey got off to a scary start after a bomb threat was reported in 7 of the state's 21 counties, prompting evacuations of polling sites and delays in voting, and in one case, a juvenile was arrested. Correspondent Julie Walker reports that despite the incidents, voting was heavy in the Garden State, and when asked about the threats, Governor-elect Mikey Sherrill told WABC Radio in New York City that intimidation like this will not stop the will of the people.
We've heard of checked out all the bomb threats. There are no credible ones yet. Law enforcement's working overtime to keep our elections safe. So obviously this is an attempt to suppress the vote here. And I don't think New Jerseyans take very kindly to that kind of tampering in our election system.
In New Jersey, voting was underway in the morning when bomb threats came in, including to the Livingston Park Elementary School polling location in North Brunswick. Police determined the threat was not credible. No explosives were found. Later in the day, the Middlesex County Prosecutor's Office says police took a juvenile into custody. It's unclear how police learned who the suspect was. Voters in the state are deciding a close governor's race. Officials say bomb threats had been emailed to at least 7 counties, none of them credible, including Passaic, a key swing county. It's also the only county outside California where the Department of Justice had sent election monitors, in both cases at the request of the Republican parties in each state. I'm Julie Walker.
Testimony is underway in Washington, D.C. as the man who threw a sandwich at a federal agent says it was a protest, but prosecutors at the so-called Sandwich Man's trial say it's a crime. Jennifer King reports.
Jurors heard opening statements Tuesday in the federal trial for a man who threw a submarine sandwich at Customs and Border Protection agents in Washington, D.C. Sean Charles Dunn says that hurling the hoagie on August 10th was an act of protest. He became known as the Sandwich Guy and a symbol of resistance for D.C. residents to President Trump's law enforcement surge in the Capitol. Assistant U.S. Attorney John Perrin told jurors that everybody is entitled to their views, but that Dunn's actions crossed a line. The government's first witness, Agent Gregory Larimore, described how Dunn yelled and insulted agents who were standing in front of a club hosting a Latin night. Larimore said he could smell the onions and the mustard when the sandwich exploded against his chest. Defense attorney Julia Gatto says it was a harmless gesture as Dunn exercised his right to speak out. The government originally tried to charge Dunn with felony assault, but a grand jury refused the indictment and the case was brought back as a misdemeanor charge. Jennifer King, Washington.
There's a new vehicle recall to be aware of, this time for the new plug-in hybrid Jeep models. Correspondent Lisa Dwyer reports.
Chrysler is recalling more than 320,000 Jeep plug-in hybrid vehicles due to a faulty battery that can fail and lead to a fire. Owners of the vehicles, which include Jeep Wranglers model years 2020 through 25 and Jeep Grand Cherokee model years 2022 through 26, are being advised to park their vehicles outside and away from structures until a fix for the problem is developed. Vehicle owners are also being urged to not charge their vehicles. Owners should receive an interim notification letter by December 2nd, with additional letters to be sent once a fix is available. Vehicles that were previously recalled for the same issue will need to have the new fix performed under this new recall. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Amazon announced a huge deal with OpenAI to train their large language models on Amazon's infrastructure and data centers. Chuck Palm explains in today's Tech Report.
Amazon is making a high-stakes move in the world of AI that could reshape the landscape. A $38 billion 7-year deal to provide OpenAI with massive computing power through their AWS data centers. That means hundreds of thousands of NVIDIA CPUs ramping up by 2026. This new partnership marks a shift for OpenAI, diversifying beyond Microsoft while adding additional commitments like a $250 billion deal with Microsoft Azure and a $300 billion deal with Oracle. Amazon seems to be securing a foothold in the AI boom by partnering with key players even as they invest billions in their own partner, Anthropic. Amazon has issued a stern legal threat to Perplexity AI over its Comet browser, which uses their agentic AI features to automate shopping on the platform. Perplexity has called this an open act of bullying. For more, find me on X at Chuck Palm.
Midweek Sports is in on America in the Morning. Here's Robert Workman.
The NBA champion Thunder now 8-0 to start the new season. They came on strong late to sink the Clippers 126-107, 30 points for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Battle of division leaders in the East, the Bulls rallied from down 24 to slip past the Sixers 113-111. Josh Giddey had 29 points and a triple-double.
This was an awesome test and unbelievable resilience by the group to come out the second half the way we did. And would have been easy to throw the towel in and call it a night, get ready for the next one. But credit to the guys. I thought our bench unit was unbelievable in keeping us in that game, and total team effort tonight.
At the other end of the standings, the Pelicans got their first win, 116-112 over the Hornets. Only Brooklyn still looking for dub. College hoops, number 1 Purdue pounded Evansville. Fletcher Lawyer had 30 points. Wins for number 6 Duke, number 9 Kentucky, and 10th ranked Texas Tech. On the ice, the league leading Avalanche edged the Lightning 3-2. Victor Olofsson scored twice. Hurricanes blew by the Rangers 3-0. Pyotr Kochetkov made 25 saves. New York is winless in 6 games at home this season. Golden Knights blanked the Red Wings 1-0. Kings shut out the Jets 3-0. Cutter Gaudier's first NHL hat trick led the Ducks past the Panthers 7-3. And a lot of free hockey. Overtime wins for the Mammoth and Wild. Shootout victories for the Flyers, Stars, and Bruins. The NFL trade deadline Tuesday. A fire sale for the Jets. They send 2-time All-Pro cornerback Sauce Gardner to the Colts and defensive tackle Quinnen Williams to the Cowboys, getting back 3 number 1 picks and a second-rounder. And the first college football playoff poll is out. Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, and Alabama are the top 4. That's Wednesday Sports.
Battle of the Sexes on the tennis court years ago. Now this, when America in the Morning continues after these messages. The historic tennis match in 1973 between Billie Jean King and Bobby Riggs was considered the Battle of the Sexes. Fast forward to 2025, and it's round 2, 52 years later, with a modern twist. Correspondent Gethin Coolball explains.
Top-ranked Aryna Sabalenka will play former Wimbledon finalist Nick Kyrgios in a Battle of the Sexes exhibition match in Dubai on December 28th. Sabalenka confirmed during the U.S. Open that discussions for the match were underway.
I think it's a cool idea, I think it's going to be
spectacular to watch. It's going to be fun, especially against someone like Nick.
Both players have posted logistical details on their social media channels. Kyrgios said this year that he would only get one serve and would be hitting toward a smaller side of the court. The Australian has predicted he will win easily. I'm Geffen Coolbaugh.
Kim Kardashian clearly isn't a fan of AI, blaming ChatGPT for failing her law exams. Entertainment reporter Kevin Carr has more.
Kim Kardashian's latest public beef appears to be with an AI bot online. This week, the reality TV show star appeared on Vanity Fair's lie detector series with Tiana Taylor. The series features celebrities who answer questions from each other while hooked up to a polygraph. During a discussion about OpenAI's interface ChatGPT, Kardashian said she used it for limited purposes. One of those was for legal questions, in particular during her studies.
When I am needing to know the answer to a question, I'll take a picture and snap it and put it in there.
So you're cheating?
They're always wrong. It has made me fail tests.
Are you serious?
All the time.
Kardashian has been pursuing a law degree for the past 6 years and graduated in May. Though currently not a lawyer, she does hope to one day practice law. According to the polygraph operator, she was speaking the truth. Kardashian included how ChatGPT responded to her when it got blamed.
How does that make you feel? That you need to really know these answers? I'm coming to you. Right. And then it'll say back to me, this is just teaching you to trust your own instincts.
When asked directly, ChatGPT acknowledged the situation, but it did not bear the responsibility for Kardashian's failures.
There's no evidence that ChatGPT caused Kim Kardashian to fail any law exams. She's actually been pretty open about her journey in law school, and any struggles she's faced have been her own.
I'm Kevin Carr.
And to recap election 2025, Democrat Mikey Sherrill is the new governor-elect of New Jersey, defeating Republican Jack Citarelli by a double-digit margin, while in Virginia, Democrat Abigail Spanberger is that Commonwealth's governor-elect, and Democrats in Virginia also won the lieutenant governor and attorney general races. Zohran Mamdani is the new mayor-elect of New York City. And in California, Proposition 50 was passed by the voters, which will lead to state redistricting for the 2026 congressional election. That's our show for today, Wednesday, November 5th, 2025. America in the Morning is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One.